Hello students, good morning to all. I hope that all of you are safe and fine at your home. Today we will start poem My Shadow from Unit 3. Before I start poem recitation and explanation, first we will do one activity. Here in the picture you can see that one child, he is just trying to make shadow. So for that activity, you have to keep ready with you one torch, or you can just use mobile torch, and you have to go near the wall. Keep your hand in between wall and torch, and then try to make different figures from your hand. You will be surprised that different figures or that shadow you can see on the wall. Just click that pictures of that shadow and send it to me. You can make different animals, different flowers, different kind of birds and creatures with the help of that shadow. Now, here one question is there. Do you know whenever there is light, someone follows you? Have you ever wondered who it is? Whenever you are just walking and light it is there, sunlight or any other kind of light, you will feel that someone is chasing you, someone is following you. Who is this? This is your own shadow. And what do you mean by shadow? Shadow, that means dark figure which we can see in the presence of the light. Now let's recite poem. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. So here it is a first stanza. In this stanza, poet has mentioned how that child feels, that what, how that child is curious and what is he is thinking about shadow. In this stanza, poet says that he is a little shadow that keeps following him, that shadow is chasing him whenever he is going, whenever he goes. At the same time, the poet also wonders that what is the use of shadow? Shadow is just looking like the poet from top to bottom or heels to head. The poet observes that his shadow goes to bed before him. That means when he goes to bed, before he goes to bed, that shadow reaches to the bed. Child is the poet or the child is curious to know more about him. Him means shadow. That child is very curious to know about shadow. Now second stanza. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there is none of him at all. Here in this stanza, poet is curious to observe that how shadow keeps changing. He compares his shadow with other children. That means how our growth is that children's growth that slowly and gradually, right? That when child is very small, within one day or within one week, he will not be like a human being, like a man, right? छोटा सा जो चाइल्ड होता है एक दिन में वो बड़ा नहीं हो जाता बट शैडो जो होता है कभी कभी एकदम सा छोटा होता है कभी कभी एकदम सा बड़ा हो जाता है बट ही इज नॉट लाइक अ ह्यूमन बीइंग जैसे चाइल्ड होता है छोटा होता है slowly and gradually he is just growing. His height and body is just growing slowly and gradually. So here poet compares his shadow with other children and says that he does not behave like them. Poet says that shadow is not behaving like other children. Other children are generally just growing slowly, but shadow is just growing faster than them. The poet observes that sometimes the shadow becomes taller than him, like India rubber ball, and sometimes it gets very smaller, like no one can see it. Like India rubber ball, like in cricket, that cricketers they are using that ball, right? When we will just throw it down, that will bounce back and that will just go upside. So here poet says that sometimes it shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. Means वो बॉल जो बाउंस होता है उसकी तरह ये शेडो की हाइट बढ़ जाती है एंड समटाइम इट गेट्स सो लिटिल दैट देयर इज नन ऑफ हिम एट ऑल कई बार वो बड़ा हो जाता है कई बार छोटा हो जाता है when completely darkness it is there we are unable to see that shadow. Now third stanza. One morning very early before the sun I was up. I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. In the last stanza, the poet says that one day he woke up early in the morning before the sunrise. He went out to see the flowers and he found morning dew on each flower, in each petal of the flower. But he did not find his shadow behind. The poet calls his shadow lazy because he thought that he was still sleeping. But actually, the shadows are formed when sunlight falls on your body. When light it is there, when light just falls on your body, then only you will find shadow. Otherwise, you are not going to find that shadow. But poet is not aware about this. So, poet tells shadow lazy. Since the sun did not rise still when the poet woke up, he did not find the ship. The poet was confused and wondered why his shadow did not wake up when he went to bed at night before the poet. The poet thinks that the shadow plays tricks with him all the time. पोएट सोचता है जब वो खुद सोने जाता है उससे पहले शैडो चला जाता है. Here we have seen that जब वो बेड पे जाता है पोएट उससे पहले शैडो बेड पे सो जाता है. तो पोएट उठ जाता है when poet woke up early in the morning, but shadow was not there. So he finds that shadow is lazy, but actually it is not true. We cannot see the shadow because light it is not there. If light it is not there, we are unable to see the shadow. Now, main theme of the poem that here that child is very innocent, and here we can see that imagination and observation are wide and full of curiosity. As we find that children are very curious, very eager to know each and everything. But here we can find that innocence as well as curiosity in the poem. Now let's see the new words. India rubber ball, a ball that can bounce very high. Then buttercup, a yellow flower, and errant. Errant that means bad. I hope that you have understood the poem. One time you have to write this poem and these new words in your English note. Thank you. Have a nice day.